But we will work with law enforcement to the best of our ability. They have been protecting us, and I'm thrilled with the response we've gotten from the DOJ. Department of Justice has set up a special effort on hate crimes and on our civil rights, and the FBI is at work now in 50 states opening their lines to Arab Americans and Muslim Americans who have reports. They're working with us, we're working with them, and the fact is that if there is any way that we can be of help, we will be of help. This is an issue that affects every one of us.
Mr. Zogby, Fred Barnes wants to ask a question.
Sure, Fred.
As you know, Mr. Zogby, Osama bin Laden is described in the media as either an Islamic fundamentalist or an Islamic extremist. And my question is this, does he represent Islam, or is it a perversion of Islam that he represents?
Fred, let me tell you, a few years back, I remember Newsweek magazine had a cover, and it was a slit down the diagonal, and it had David Koresh on one side and Sheikh Omar Abdurrahman, the last World Trade Center figure, on the other part. And I said when I saw the cover, I said, I bet most Americans look at this and say, David Koresh doesn't represent us, but oh, that Sheikh Omar, he represents Islam. The fact is that Osama bin Laden is about as mainstream a character in Islam as David Koresh was in Christianity. He is a perversion, and he doesn't have... here's the thing I think it's important to understand about terrorism in one way, is that somebody said to me, what do you think their objective was? And I said, it was to kill people, that's it. There is no politics to this. When Baruch Goldstein went into the mosque in Hebron and killed 29 people, there were no politics. He sought no outcome. When these guys crashed into this building, they didn't seek an outcome. The outcome was to kill people and create panic, and nothing beyond that. And so he is not part of a politics or a political current. He may mouth politics or may mouth religion, but it is, at best, a perversion of the religion, and that is why he is persona non grata in Arab countries, and ought to be a persona non grata everywhere in the world. The fact is that this is an issue that I believe we now have an international resolve to deal with, and I hope we will. America has a tremendous responsibility today and a burden, and I believe that we are right to ask other nations to share it with us, and I'm seeing signs that they will.
Mr. Zogby, this is Mort Kondracki. How you doing?
Hi, Mort.
Last night on this station, Rob Sabani of Georgetown University said that he thought that Muslim Americans Islamic Americans had not spoken out strongly enough against what was happening over there. Now, you've done that, but do you think that that the community has been as vociferous as it ought to be?
Oh, I don't know who this Rob Sabani is. I saw him a couple days ago saying that he thought that airport profiling was a great thing. He's obviously never been a victim of that, and I don't think has thought through the problem, but he can't make a statement like that. I've seen the statements coming from all of the Muslim American organizations. I've seen the activities on the mosques across the country, the blood drives in some cases and fundraising drives in other instances, and the volunteers who've come forward. There were scenes in some of the Michigan channels of Arab Americans, Muslims in Michigan, firefighters and policemen volunteering to go to New York, and some actually have gone to New York, and from New Jersey they've gone to volunteer in this. I don't think he can make a statement like that and do it with any authority. I don't think he knows that about which he is speaking, and that's unfortunate. You know, tragedies like this oftentimes bring forth people who become experts instantly. I don't know who he is, have never seen him around the community, and don't think he knows.
Okay, James Zogby of the Arab American Institute, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Also, I want to thank Fred Barnes and Mort Kondracki for joining us at this hour. We have been dealing for 5 days now with something that we never expected, people assailing us on our own shores. For the first time, we can now see aerial views of the devastation wrought when a couple of jetliners slammed into what used to be the 110-story or 108-story World Trade Center buildings. One of the people who has had to deal with this most is Federal Emergency Management Administrator Joe Albaugh. Earlier today, I talked to him not only about the devastation in New York, but also the Pentagon. He visited that site yesterday, and here's what he had to say. Yesterday, after touring the Pentagon, you went out and talked to reporters, and you said, "It is emotional. It is something I hope I never have to go through as long as I live." We haven't seen it. What did you see?
Well, from the camera's point of view, it looks as if there's nothing taking place, but the fire department, firefighters, those brave men and women who putting their lives on the line are behind the exterior wall, shoring up so they can go in and recover the rest of the bodies. Governor Gilmer and I were on the first floor. We went back as far as C, possibly B ring, really inside.
So that's deep into the interior.
Deep inside, and inside the Pentagon. And amazingly enough, that was an area, I believe, that was just retrofitted. Otherwise, it would have been worse, quite frankly. But just steps away from bodies, you had individuals, victims who had lost their lives in this tragedy that have not yet been reclaimed. And it's heavy.
How long is that going to take?
Here in Northern Virginia at the Pentagon, it'll take weeks. They're moving expeditiously. In New York City, it is a tragedy beyond comprehension. You know, in excess of 600,000 tons of debris. It's a crime scene. And those brave men and women who are putting their lives at risk are paying proper respects, moving slowly because they're trying to recover as much information and as many people as they possibly can in a timely fashion.
So months before that's cleaned up?
It will be months, yes.
So how many?
I have no idea.
Last week, before all this happened, you met with a lot of New York City's finest.
I did.
Tell us about who we lost.
It's going to be tough, Tony. It will be tough. But I was at Rescue one of the station houses that respond to incidents such as that. Fine men and women on 42nd Street, I believe. I was sitting next to Chief Ray Downey on my left and Captain Terry Hatton on my right, and the rest of the men and women that were on this shift that day. And we had a great hour and a half together, and I learned